What's up, guys? Welcome to the Stix&Crits podcast. And today we have a very special episode. I'm Nate Powers.
And I'm Thomas King.
And unfortunately, this week we had a tragic loss in the nerd community. The one and only Stan Lee passed away on November 12th.
Yep. Sad day, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought he was going to live forever. The dude was a living superhero and a legend. Just tragic. But he lived a full life, you know. He lived a long life.
95 years old.
Yeah,
man. 95.
And he was still killing it, you know, rocking it in the movies.
Yeah, he was still showing up in those fucking movies all the time. I don't know how this guy was doing it, but
yeah.
Especially he's been sick for a few years.
Yeah.
So that's the more impressive part. He was so dedicated to everything he did.
It's true. From the ripe young age of 19, he's been in the nerd business.
It's insane to think, like 19 years old.
Could you imagine doing something that you love doing for almost 80 years?
Yeah.
Forever. 75 years he did it, 76 years.
He got to fuck around with creating characters and writing stories for his whole life.
And he loved doing it.
Yeah.
I think he said in an interview, he was equating it to golf. He's like, some people play golf all the time and they love playing golf, but you don't ask them why they play golf.
You just know
you just get it. He's like, that's how he was with making stories and writing characters. It's okay, I'll forgive it this time. And you know, I think he always kind of pushed that belief, that narrative. Just jump into doing whatever you love.
Well, I mean, he was a pioneer. Like, he brought all these characters to life for young kids, for teens, for adults. And he did this for years on end. And just, he influenced so much. If you see what he did with Jack Kirby, it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for Stan Lee, there wouldn't even be a Marvel. It would be a totally different looking operation.
Yeah, DC would have taken over for sure, and there wouldn't have been any competition. Well, I mean, Jack Kirby does put out a lot. We shouldn't take away from the rest of those guys.
No, of course not.
They all did it together. It wasn't just Stan Lee, but he was definitely.
Yeah, but he's an intricate cog in that machine.
Absolutely. He really also just brought about the new wave of nerd culture that's kind of taken everybody by storm right now. Everything is been popularized through comic books being put on the screen mostly. Mm-hmm. But it's just that whole going against the grain. I mean, like when he pitched Spider-Man, his producers were like tearing it down. Nobody likes spiders. He's always a teenager. He needs to be a grown man. He shouldn't have problems. A superhero never has problems. And he really brought it down to like a real world kind of relatability.
That was the first thing that Stan Lee did that changed the game. So and I'm going to say this up front, I'm a DC guy, but I also loved Marvel. But
I think you're a fool to not like both, honestly.
Huh?
I think anyone who doesn't like both is kind
of you have to like both of them, but you always pick favorites. I mean, it happens.
That's true.
But DC and even Marvel before that, they were always upholding the superheroes as they never had any flaws. And not only did they have superpowers, but they were these enigmatic creatures that we couldn't understand. They were just perfect. Mm-hmm. And Stan Lee was, like you said, he was the first person that pitched a superhero to have flaws, to have for them to be sad or depressed or angry. I think he described it as the most surprising thing to his editors above him, where he would explain it as some of these superheroes go into just fits of rage, and especially someone like Spider-Man, who's a young kid, and he doesn't understand what's happening. So it would make sense for him to go into a fit of rage.
Yeah, he normalizes them. He brings them down to the human essence, and that's what people really connect with.
Yeah, because they're, like you said, relatable.
Yeah,
I don't think if every superhero was Superman perfect in that aspect, I don't think they'd be as popular as they are today.
And I think that just speaks to the kind of guy he was. He was always very connected with the people, and just really was a caring, giving person. And you just reading any stories about how he interacts with people and all the work that he was a part of, you can see that. Yeah,
I mean,
there won't be another like him.
No, that's definitely for sure. There's never gonna be anybody like Stan Lee ever again. Like he just had his finger on the pulse of the comic book business. He was ahead of his time, and it took them a while to accept him, but they did, and once they did, like it just started rolling. Because I mean, dude, superheroes are a very normal aspect of our lives right now.
It's so true. Every other movie that's coming out for the past like 5 years is a
Superhero movie,
and most of them are Marvel.
Yeah.
And honestly, Marvel's been killing in their movies compared to DC.
Okay, let's not.
Oh, come on, you know it's true.
I'm not getting into this. Stanley died. We're not going to have this discussion when the man has just passed.
Yeah.
We'll do this another time.
We'll go to war. We'll go to war after the appropriate time.
Yes. We'll wait. We'll give our grace period, and then we can do this. But no, I love like characters like Spider-Man, like even Iron Man to a lesser extent, but like he wasn't a super mega popular figure, and now he's become that. I mean, Captain America.
I mean,
come on, Captain America is dope.
He totally personifies, America ideals from the 40s.
He really does, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that was his whole thing was, fight against the communist machine, all that great stuff.
Yeah, the more like surprising thing to me. So like we were doing like the research for this. We were kind of digging deeper and deeper. I wanted to find out like these minuscule like little tiny facts. But like so Stan Lee had created Father Time, that was his first character. And he appeared in, and you had said Captain America was his first character.
I thought he did Captain America.
I mean, Father Time was in Captain America #4.
Right. But he didn't no. That was all Jack Kirby.
Right. And Father Time was supposed to be this like super enigmatic character, like just brought up, and they did not like it.
Yeah.
So they didn't Marvel did not like this at all. Which back then I think they were still timely comics, which I believe is
I believe as well.
They were still timely comics, and then when he creates this character, and they're just like, no, sorry, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And they dropped him down.
And when you were reading through, they shot down a lot of his ideas at first, and then he snuck Spider-Man into I forget what kind. It was like some like publishing that it wasn't an official comic, but it was like short stories or something like that, and he snuck it in. And his producers were like, hey, why don't you just run this, and we're gonna do it. And then eventually he got full creative control and was pumping out everything during the Silver Age of comics.
Yeah, and that it was him and Jack Kirby were just everything, fucking everything. The Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man. Yep. He made the first iteration of the Avengers.
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Fucking
Groot.
Ridiculous. Groot was his first character
which
that
I thought
stuck.
Was ridiculous.
Yeah, his first character that sticks in continuity, which is insane. And oh man, who was it? It was Groot and Doctor Strange were in the same comic, which is so weird.
Yeah.
So I'm very tempted to go back and look, because I know of like as we grew up, we all knew who Stan Lee was.
Yeah, and I was never a big comic guy. I was always just into like video games and movies and all that stuff, and cartoons. So that's where I consumed all the Stan Lee content that he created.
Yeah, the first thing I got into, or the only comics I really got super into, on the Marvel side was I loved Spider-Man comics. They were awesome.
Yeah.
And then there was a short run. I'm not sure if it's still going on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a comic book run of series, just Venom versus Carnage, and I super got into that. It was really dope.
That sounds dope.
Yeah, and it was one of the last ones he was involved with, just I think for continuity's sake. Because he gave up in 2010, 2009, something like that.
Somewhere at the end of the 2000s.
But he didn't even need to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but like that's Stan Lee. I mean, he just was always about it, and he was always heavily involved in the movies and the TV shows. I think my favorites is definitely X-Men.
The cartoon?
Well, the X-Men cartoons is really good, and the first two movies are really good. But the cartoons is what I really grew up on in the early 2000s and late 90s. But he just was pioneer, innovator. Fantastic man, cultivator of a culture.
He was dope. I loved how he's always rocking those Aviators for life.
Yeah, so fly.
Just for life. That beige pullover sweater with a white dress shirt underneath. Yep. That famous mustache, and then the Aviators. What was sad, and I really got to interject this. My friend posted something. It was a picture for Thanos is standing in front of Stan Lee's grave. And he's like, I only meant to delete half the universe not the entire universe.
Right.
And he goes, "Would you mind if I used the time stone on you?" That's fucking sad.
Yeah.
That's really
that's
fucking
breaking
sad.
my heart while you're telling
That's
me.
really fucking sad, man. That's God. Like, I mean, he's without him, so many things would not have been possible.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm really interested to see the direction of the comic, at least for Marvel specifically, without his influence. I mean, because he wasn't directly involved, but when Stan Lee says something, people generally
you feel like if he shows up in the room or in the meeting and he's like, "That's it's gotta go."
Like, what are you doing, or how can we make it? I feel like he's always there making it better.
Yeah, they said he left, but I honestly feel like he's definitely like, "Hey Stan, what's up? Like, can I get your opinion on something?"
Yeah, but also his health was pretty
deteriorating. It was pretty
over
bad
the past 8 years.
You know what's weird though too is because I really, I remember reading about this, and when I was reading about this, I was at work. So when this shit happened, like I'm sitting there at work, and I'm just like, "What? Stan Lee fucking died."
Yeah.
And the people I work with, some of them don't know who Stan Lee was, and like
that's shocking.
Yeah. No, like not to a super extent. Like they don't understand like what he did. They've heard the name,
right?
Because who the hell hasn't seen a Marvel movie these days?
I don't know how anybody wouldn't know like exactly who Stan Lee was, even young kids.
Yeah, no,
they're fucking dressing up as his characters for Halloween and shit.
Oh yeah, I mean true, but like so I'm at work and there's the whole staff is like, like a couple of us are really sad because we really know who Stan Lee is. Yeah. And this guy asked, and I like it's the weirdest thing. Like this dad and this kid were sitting at the table, and the kid had a fucking Spider-Man book bag. And I was like, "Oh, this is typical." The guy just turns around. He's like, "You really don't know who Stan Lee is?" Like, just kind of like showed this guy like why he's so great.
Yeah,
that was an insane moment for me to just be like, Stan Lee fucking died, and then that happens in front of my eye.
Yeah.
With the Spider-Man book bag.
Yeah.
With the Spider-Man book bag. And that's like...
Spider-Man's definitely, I would say, the most popular character he made.
Yeah, I would think so.
I mean, the next would probably be the Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk had a show in the 80s, and it was Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno?
Yeah. He was the best.
That's so funny.
He was the best, man.
I remember when my father first told me about that when I was like really young, and I was like, "Wow, they had a live action Hulk show," so I'm expecting to see like all this grand shit.
But it's 80s.
And it's just Lou Ferrigno lightly spray painted.
Yo, but he's huge. He's a monster,
Yeah,
man.
he was massive.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, okay, the Hulk just is a green person.
That's the greatest thing about like technology in film right now is we're able to make such stunning, amazing images and really bring to life all those fantastical stories that we've always been wanting to see. I remember when I first moved to New York, it was right after the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out.
Oh, shit.
Really? And I was having a conversation with some random film person that I had met at the restaurant I was working at, and we were just talking about movies, and I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna do all these movies. We're in the age of the nerd, we have hit terminal velocity in terms of the ability to make this content that I've been trying to make for 40 plus years, and it's because of people like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all those guys in Marvel and DC pumping out all these great stories that we have to desperately see cultivate in front of our eyes.
Yeah, we want to see everything. I mean, like there's no debate about it. I think we're gonna see more of Marvel after this.
Yeah, of course we are.
I mean,
they got a 10-year plan on probably.
Oh, yeah, and like this is coming again. This is coming from a guy that prefers DC comics. This man was a fucking legend.
Yeah.
He brought in he worked through the gold and the silver age of comics. And he was always at the forefront.
Yeah, he built the culture.
Yeah, and he was like the celebrity editor in chief.
Yeah, he really was.
Like everybody knew him. And when the movie started, he wanted to be involved on every level of it. Like, dude, props to Stan Lee, man.
Yeah.
Like,
so this one's to you, Guy. Without you, we wouldn't have most of the amazing things that we get to enjoy every day. So rest easy, big guy.
Yeah. Goddamn, Stan Lee. You were a legend. You changed the face of everything that we could have ever hoped for, and you brought about our reality. So thank you for putting us first, and for bringing us these awesome stories that we'll cherish for the rest of our lives.
To our man Stan.
To Stan Lee.
For everything you did for us.